Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is Kimmy. Today I'm going to show you how to make this beautiful rustic pumpkin shaped sourdough loaf. Good morning. Here's the part you've all been waiting for. So first we're going to sprinkle our cutting board with some flour. I'm just going to prepare to put our loaf here, or our dough here. And then we're going to get our dough that's risen overnight. And okay, let's get our dough. And we're going to gently kind of pull it away from the sides of the bowl. You can flour your fingers if you'd like. I'm just using the flour on my cutting board, and then go ahead and gently kind of tug. Be real gentle because you don't want to break up the yeast strings. So just kind of gently coax your dough out of the bowl, and you're going to coax it on to the cutting board there, the floured cutting board. Okay, so let's just get this all out. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to gently kind of pull my dough into maybe like a little rectangle. You want to be real gentle, don't tug hard, treat it like a baby. So gently kind of stretch and pull. You might see little bubbles formed from the fermenting overnight. That's a good thing. Okay, and then after we've pulled, we're going to pull all four sides gently into, or fold them over each other into the center there and kind of pat down. So we're going to do that on all four sides of our rectangle. This is going to help us form our loaf before we put it into the banneton for a second rise. So after we've done that, we're going to flip the loaf over gently, okay, and kind of smooth it. And then we're going to let it rest for about 10 minutes. It's been 10 minutes, so now our dough has had a chance to rest. So I'm going to lightly flour my hands again. And then I'm going to be forming the dough into a tighter ball. So the way you do this is you put both hands on with your thumbs toward the front, and you gently pull toward your thumbs, pull the entire loaf towards your thumbs, and it'll help tighten up the ball. You just want to turn it a quarter turn and do it to each side. And you'll start to see bubbles form. See how on the top I have bubbles there? That's good. That just shows that your dough is fermented properly. I'm going to use this this scraping bench knife thing to also help form my dough and to make my ball tighter. Okay, so once I have a complete round formed, I'm going to gently place that into my banneton. But before I do that, I'm going to flour it lightly, and I'm going to kind of push the flour into the grooves there. That just helps to keep the dough from sticking in the grooves while it goes through its second rise. So put a generous amount of flour on there and then kind of push into the grooves of the banneton. Okay. All right, so now I'm going to gently grab my loaf and I'm going to place it upside down into the banneton. Okay. And then I like to use these plastic shower caps. They're clear plastic shower caps. They're cheapy caps. They have a little bit of elastic and thin plastic, and I've been using these to put around my banneton while my dough is rising. So I'm going to let this rise for 1 hour. Our hour is complete, and now we're going to prepare the dough to be baked. This is where we're going to set up for the pumpkin. There's going to be some things you're going to need. So first, you're going to need a spool of or some baking twine. Okay, and you're gonna want to cut 4 pieces into 2-foot lengths. 4 pieces of twine in 2-foot lengths, so 24 inches. Okay, you're gonna need a small dish with baking oil. You can use vegetable oil, canola oil. You're also gonna need some parchment paper, your loaf, your dough, of course. And then you're also going to need your pans that you're going to bake in. So first what you're going to do is you're going to take your 4 pieces of twine and we're going to saturate those in the dish of oil. We just want to coat them really well. Okay, so just pull through and coat, but make sure they're fully coated, they're fully saturated in the cooking oil. I'm actually using sunflower oil. I'm sure you can also use olive oil. So we're going to get those all coated. And then we want to make sure we kind of squeeze out some of the excess oil. Once it's all saturated there, just go ahead and squeeze out some excess oil. Okay, so we're going to set our dish to the side. We have our twine all ready to go. So grab your loaf that's been on its second rise. So this should be after an hour when it's risen the second time. We're going to grab our pieces of twine one at a time, and we're going to lay them across the banneton bowl. So lay this across the center, and then take your next one and lay it in an X shape. And then we're just going to continue that pattern until we have wedges formed. So we'll grab our third one, go the opposite direction, and then finally our last one. And just make sure that they kind of all meet in the center there. I'm just adjusting to make sure all my wedges are about the same size. Now grab your parchment paper, and you're going to want to rip off a piece that just goes slightly over the size of your bowl or your banneton. I'm going to show you a little trick with the parchment. Since parchment's kind of not very easy to form, it just does what it wants. I learned, see, I'm going to try and put it in my bowl and it just pops back out. So I learned this trick from another baker. You actually can just take your piece of parchment and just ball it all up in a tight ball, crinkle it all up really well. Okay. And then once it's crinkled up really well, when you use it, when you open it to use it, it's a lot easier to form. It'll mold a lot easier. It makes it just, yeah, easier to work with. I don't know what else to say. Yeah, so see, I'm going to form it into my pot there, and it doesn't just pop out. So that's really been a great thing I learned. It's helped me a lot and saved some frustration on trying to mold the parchment. Okay, so put on top of your banneton and flip over. And I'm going to adjust my strings here so that they're back in the places they should be. I'm going to gently get my loaf out of the banneton. Okay, and you can go ahead and just sprinkle your loaf with a little bit more flour. And then gently smooth it all with your hand. So this is where we're going to form the pumpkin. You're going to be grabbing your twine pieces to tie together. Oh, I forgot to tell you to grab your bread lame blade. I'm just using the blade right now. I know it's very dangerous, but I don't have a lame that I like, so I'm just using the blade. I actually bought a UFO lame, but I'm waiting for it to be delivered. So here, you're just going to take one piece of your twine, and you're going to tie it gently in a double knot. You don't want to pull too tight. You just want a slight tug that pulls the dough in a little bit on each side. So just tie that in a double knot, and then go ahead and snip those edges. Then we're just going to continue around and do that with each piece of twine. Tie there, double knotted, and pull gently. And your third one. You can see the pumpkin wedges, or whatever you want to call them, starting to form there when you do your twine. Doesn't it look cute already? And then we'll do our last one. So keep an eye on making sure your wedges are even, okay? And then see, mine's off a little bit. I didn't really pay that much attention. It's okay. It looks cute when it's done. It makes it a little more rustic, not so perfect. Sometimes imperfection is good with this type of a project. So get our last twine cut. And then we're going to score our wedges with the bread lame. So I am going to just use the blade, okay? So I'm going to be very careful that I do not cut my fingers with the blade. I've been using just a blade for a while, so I'm fairly confident I'm not going to cut myself, but I still want to exercise some caution, okay? So I'm going to take the blade, and I'm going to, with every other wedge, I'm just going to score a straight line, okay? So just score a straight line down the wedge, and then skip one and go to the next one and do the same thing. You can score yours however you want. This is just how I'm going to do mine. Skip another and do that one, and then the final one of those. Okay, and then the ones I didn't do, we're going to go through those, and we're just going to do little slices, little diagonal slices. And then the skip one, do the next one. So we're just going to do that on all the remaining wedges there. This looks pretty cute when it's finished, so you can see the scoring after. It's nice. Okay, so now we're going to be placing our pumpkin bread into our cast iron pot, okay, our cast iron baking dish. And you're going to want to put this in your cast iron dish with a lid, with the oven preheated to 450 degrees. You're going to bake it for 20 minutes. Then you're going to remove the lid, and then you're going to bake an additional 30 minutes. Then you're going to take your bread out of the pot and just put it on the rack of your oven for an additional 5 minutes, and then you'll take it out. So I'm just pushing away the parchment from the dough so that it doesn't push into my dough and bake that way. I want to keep it clear of the sides of my dough. So this is going to go in the oven now, and I'll see you guys back when this is finished. Oh, you guys, I'm so excited with the way this looks. Grab your scissors, grab a small tool to poke a hole in your loaf. I'm just going to use this small measuring spoon, and then something for a stem. So I'm using this piece of cinnamon stick. I like the way it looks. It's rustic, and I'm going for rustic. So we're going to start by trimming each of the pieces of twine. So what I did was cut the top, and then I grabbed it by the knot and pulled it all the way through. This is a little difficult, and I think next time I'm going to do it a little different. I think I will snip the top and the bottom so that I'm only pulling half of the twine through on each piece. So it was just very difficult to pull through. I had to really tug on some of those pieces and put some elbow grease in there. So I think it would probably just put a little less stress on the bread and not mess up any of the crust if I just cut it twice, once on the top and once on the bottom. So maybe give that a try and see if you struggle less than you can see me struggling in this video. So let me get my last piece out. And then I did let this cool for about 10 minutes. I didn't just pull it out of the oven. So use your tool or your measuring spoon to put a little hole in the center. And then you can push your stem in there. Okay, I'm gonna push my cinnamon stick in, and there's my stem. There you go, guys. A beautiful pumpkin sourdough loaf. So I hope that these instructions were clear. I hope you're able to duplicate this and make your own loaf. Please let me know in the comments how yours went, and I would be so excited to see how yours is, or if you have any questions, let me know. Please don't forget to subscribe to my channel. And let me know if there's any other type of baking videos or sewing videos or anything like that you'd like to see. Thanks so much for watching. Please click that like button. Bye-bye.